Two main kinds of arguments for Christian theology. One category of arguments starts with the Bible. The other category of arguments instead focuses on the world around us, creation, nature, and makes the case that because of what we can observe about the world, that it exists at all, that it looks like it was designed in various ways. Or even the fact that when we look inside ourselves, we find moral intuitions about right and wrong. Something like that we observe in nature, that anybody can observe in nature. That because of those things, there must be an explanation or a cause for those things we observe about the world around us. And these kind of arguments then posit that that explanation or cause for these things we observe is supernatural, that it is God. Now, obviously, those arguments don't get you to the full theology of the Bible, but they do at least get you to a point of something supernatural, of a super intelligent, super powerful being that deserves further investigation. Well, when you make arguments like that, a common rejoinder from an atheist is that you really haven't solved your problem at all. That you're just assuming there's a God, but that your argument doesn't really solve the dilemma that you've presented. An example of this counter-argument is one that I read recently in the book, Why There Is No God. And the author writes that if everything has a cause or a creator, then who created God? And who then created the entity that created God? And so on and so forth. Seems like a compelling counterargument at first glance, but in fact it is actually a really, really weak argument because it misunderstands the argument it's responding to. When a Christian makes the argument that God is the cause of the universe, or of design in the universe, or of the moral intuitions we experience within ourselves, when we make arguments that assume that God is the cause, what we are not saying is that everything needs a cause. We're not saying that there's some universal principle that all things need something else to cause them. In fact, that would be an outrageous thing to say, because then nothing would exist. Everything would be waiting for something else to cause it. Rather, what we're saying is that this particular kind of thing I'm observing, the universe or something within it, that this kind of thing requires a cause which is not natural, a cause which is different from the kind of thing that itself is. Let me give you an example. Every year or so, my wife will come to me and she'll say, "Honey, we've got mouse droppings all over the laundry room. I need you to, deal with this, please." So I'll get out my little mouse traps, humane mouse traps. And, I go and I set the little mouse traps around the laundry room. And, of course, pretty soon we catch the mouse and peace is restored until the next little mouse finds its way in. But here would be two things that would be crazy. The first thing would be if we saw the mouse droppings and we went looking for other mouse droppings to explain them. Mouse droppings call for something different, something living, something biological, something that would produce that. And then once we find the mouse, if we then somehow assumed we had to find something else to fully explain the mouse droppings. No, here's a mouse, cause the mouse droppings, end of the explanation. We've found what we were looking for. Mouse droppings call for a mouse. Once you've got your mouse, you've got your mouse. Well, how does that apply back to arguments for God? Well, it applies like this. If I look around me and I see things which perhaps require a cause other than themselves, which require some explanation for why they exist, things like maybe human beings, or trees, or rocks, or planets, if they require a cause, or if they look like they require a designer, then what we're looking for is something other than them. We can't explain it by just pointing to other human beings, or other trees, or other rocks, or other planets. Because then the question becomes, well, where did those things come from? because they're the same kind of thing. But if we find something else, a different kind of thing, something that is not natural, something that is not caused, something that is not does not have a beginning, something which is self-existent, then you've found your mouse. You've got to the thing which can explain the things you're observing, the different kind of thing. And once you get to that different kind of thing, precisely because it is a different kind of thing, then you found your explanation. And you don't need to go any further, except, of course, it would be nice if we considered perhaps a little bit more about this supernatural, superintelligent being that it seems exists. But we don't need to find something to cause it, because it is that different kind of thing. It is the explanation we're looking for, and we don't need to look any further.